Honorable Chairperson, sir, my esteemed colleagues, I stand today on behalf of my party, the All India Trinamool Congress, to participate in the discussion on the Honorable President's address. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "All truth passes through three stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident." Parliaments the world over are known for what is said in their halls. The British Parliament is testament to some of the greatest sparring matches, some of the greatest debates, but most important for some very pertinent issues that have been perhaps very uncomfortable for some people sitting in the halls. This House too has historically seen some of the greatest debates, some friendly, some not so friendly matches, but it has more or less been a sacred space where elected representatives could speak their mind without fear or favor. Today, and I say this with a heavy heart, the Lok Sabha is a space which stands out more for what cannot be said in its halls than what we can say. The list of unmentionables is actually far longer than the list of mentionables. It is as though the Treasury benches get training in a special camp that teach them to react hysterically the very instant a member of the opposition utters certain words, no matter in what context. We cannot say China, we cannot say Pegasus, we cannot say BBC, we cannot say Morbi, we cannot say Raphael, and sometimes we cannot even say Modi ji. It is on this precarious floor of eggshells that we, the members of the opposition, are forced to walk on every day. Treat a little hard, speak a little loud, and the Treasury benches hammer you down with brute force. The Honorable President's address speaks about the biggest bane of our country being corruption and crony capitalism. The address says, "The government is of the firm opinion that corruption is the biggest enemy of democracy and social justice. Therefore, there has been a relentless fight against corruption in the last few years. We have ensured that the honest will be honored in the system. We have ensured that the honest will be honored in our system." I'm reading from the Honorable President's address, the very same President that you are loving to laud. "There is increasing social consciousness in the country that there should be no sympathy for the corrupt in this society. An effective system has also been put in place to end the practice of favoritism and corruption in government machinery." The Honorable President ends her address by saying, and I quote, "Let us fulfill the oath of the Constitution by walking on our Kartavya Path in this Mahayagna of nation building." Honorable Chairperson, sir, as a responsible public representative, as a member of this opposition to whom this House belongs, I am walking on my Kartavya Path by having the courage, in spite of all of you shouting, to speak about what I'm going to speak. Every word I utter is going to be an oblation, an offering of truth into my Mahayagna of nation building. I want to talk about the most famous person in India today. Unfortunately for this House, it is not the Honorable Prime Minister. It is a man whose name starts with an A and ends with an I. And no, it is not Advani. For the purposes of this speech, let me just call him Mr. A, and his group, the A Company. I want to start off by saying, as an ex-investment banker, I want companies to thrive. But I want honest, hard-working Indian companies to strive, and not trapeze artists, as an MP colleague of mine likes to say. The chair always asks me not to get angry. I will not be angry for what I have to say. I will only say that we've all been fooled. I brought this topi with me.
I will just remind you. Your party has only 12 minutes.
Yes,
12
sir.
minutes for you. Confine.
I will finish in 12 minutes, sir.
आप बैठिए.
I have brought this topi
आप बैठ जाइए.
with me.
बैठ जाइए. आप डिस्टर्ब मत करिए, बैठ जाइए.
I have 12 minutes, sir. Please let me finish in 12 minutes. The chair always asks me not to get angry. I will not be angry for what I have to say. I will only say that we've only been fooled. I have brought this topi with me because this man has topi-pen out this wonderful nation. I will start with wearing this topi. I have some extra for others who feel the same.
Please don't do that.
I want to summarize this story by simply saying, a company who in infrastructure, where you have to win most things by tender, or have to get a regulated return, I want to summarize this story by simply saying, a company who's in infrastructure, where you have to win most things by tender, or have to get a regulated return cannot have high multiples when it is growing with debt. Most infrastructure companies make a 5 to 15% return if they're lucky and they get everything right. Once an infra is built, it is usually sold to pension funds when the infra player keeps a small portion as an operator of the asset. The multiples at which this A company is trading was absolutely outrageous. Even Google, Amazon, and Microsoft don't trade at such multiples. Ultimately, markets are and should be about fundamentals. I want to ask all of you, when a Russian company was taking over an oil refinery from an Indian business, it was not an attack on India. When Mumbai's electricity was taken over with funds from Qatar, it was not an attack on India. The pride of India lies not in the wealth of one individual. The pride of India